They have taken you from the Imperial City's prison, first by carriage and now by boat. To the east, to Morrowwind. Fear not, for I am watchful. You have been chosen. They have taken you from the Imperial City's prison.
Wake up.
First by carriage and now by boat. To the east,
As with the tides and Tamriel's moons, all cosmic powers will wax and wane, but when gods die, it creates ripples throughout the lands. The passing of the three will be a prelude to the end of this era, and the beginning of the next. The followers of the end of times are making ourselves ready for this to happen. We realize that the end of the era will bring many changes. We believe that the gates of oblivion will open, and the multitude of Daedra will roam this world freely. Some might tell you that this is a good thing, that we are descended from the Daedra and it will bring a return to the natural order of things. I know differently though. The coming age will be a time of great horror. The Daedric princes are not our ancestors, nor are they our allies. They will wash over the land, destroying all that man and Mer have built over these thousands of years. The only protection from this scourge will be our true ancestors that have gone before us and watch over us even now. Many of our followers choose to participate in the cleansing to prepare the way for the rest of us. It is a sacrifice to be sure, but it is for the greater good. Now this is of course foreshadowing the events of the next Elder Scrolls game, the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion, which came out 4 years after the Tribunal expansion for Morrowind. We saw something of a similar ilk in the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind's Blood Moon expansion Easter egg video, with the talking Farseer's skull of Oddfrid Whitelip, who also tells of the coming Oblivion crisis. So that's really awesome and truly makes me wonder if there's something of a similar nature in the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, telling us of what is to come in the Elder Scrolls VI. Hopefully there is an NPC in Skyrim that mentions no microtransactions or creation club. That would be nicer than me, and I'm so nice. Pff, who am I kidding, I'm a gooseberry. And with that prophecy of what is to come, we have now delved deep into all of the Easter eggs and secrets that I could find in the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind's first expansion, Tribunal. I do hope you have thoroughly enjoyed this nostalgic visit to Morrowind and learned of something new within the game. Perhaps this has even created a spark to replay it or get it for the first time. Whatever this video may have done for you, I do hope you enjoyed it. And if you know of anyone who would like this kind of content, be sure to share it with them. That would bring me great pleasure. And if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, and if you have something to add or know of something I missed, be sure to leave a comment. Links to my other Easter egg videos that I've already done can be found down in the description via the playlist link. Now down there you may also find all of my social media links. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, along with joining our brand new Discord server. I'd very much enjoy seeing you there. If you would like to support this channel in a more personal way, you can do so on Patreon or join right here on YouTube. As I'm sure you know, all of my time and energy goes into making these videos that I create for you to enjoy. So your support is most genuinely appreciated and welcomed in any and all forms. So thank you very much for watching, thank you very much for supporting my channel, and I will see you very shortly in the next video. I'll see you there soon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion. In this video, I will be running us through all of the most interesting Easter eggs that I could find in Oblivion. Some of these intriguing subjects that we will be covering may be considered more secrets than Easter eggs. However, like me, I think you will find them equally as interesting. Just a little bit of a disclaimer, there may be some major spoilers in this video, as a lot of the Easter eggs and secrets revolve around quest lines. So don't be surprised when stuff gets spoiled. So let's get straight into her. Firstly, we will have to come to the grand city of Shadenhall. Once here, we will need to pay a visit to the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. In here, we will find this young blonde lady. Her name is Antoinette Marie. She is an obvious reference to the 18th century Austrian-born Queen of France, Marie Antoinette, who was executed during the French Revolution. If you speak to Antoinette, she will say this.
Don't tell anyone else, but someday I'm going to have Uchiha's position. Just you wait and see. Lucien LeChance knows real talent when he sees it.
This is where
Not
they
only
want
does
you.
she have the
Head
same
down to
name,
the dock
but
and
she
I'll show you
wants
to
to
the
be
census
queen.
office.
Next in line, we will want to head to the
Finally
Imperial
arrived,
City,
but our
specifically
records
the
don't show
arena
from
area.
here.
Of course, here we will find the arena. Posted on the walls all around, like lichen, are these arena posters. For those of you that are old school gamers, you might be getting flashbacks. This poster for the arena in Oblivion is very similar to the cover art for the Elder Scrolls I Arena. 4 different character classes posing in front of their respective games' arenas. If anyone from Bethesda is watching this, bring back that outfit for God's sakes. Next we will need to come to the shrine of Clavicus Vile. This hound you can see here next to Clavicus Vile is, of course, Barbas. Once accepting Clavicus Vile's quest, Barbas will go into our bag as a dog statue and will begin speaking to us. He will say some very interesting things.
I'm Barbas, the Hound of Clavicus Vile. Not that I've always been hounded, or always been called Barbas. I've also been a red guard.
Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in. Follow me up to the office
So
and
as he
they'll finish
states, he
your
hasn't
release.
always been a hound called Barbas. He states he has also been a red guard, but most interestingly, for a while I was a scamp making deals with orcs. Now for anyone that's played Morrowind, this might be ringing a few bells. Quickly ducking back to the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, in the city of Caltera, we will find a house called Gorak Manor. Gorak Manor is completely populated by orcs. And of course, upstairs there is everyone's favorite magical talking, trading scamp, known as Creeper. For a while, I was a scamp making deals with orcs.
Yes, we've been
Creeper here, of
expecting you.
course, is
You'll have to
Barbas.
be
Not
recorded
that this
before
is
you're
confirmed,
officially
but something
released.
also interesting
There
that
are
it
a few
says
ways
I
we
have
can do
also
this, and
been
the
a
choice
Red Guard.
is
Now, in the
yours.
Elder Scrolls adventure game Red Guard, you play a Red Guard called Cirrus. And Cirrus is the only Red Guard I can think of with any real huge weight to the Elder Scrolls. Again, this is pure speculation, but wouldn't it be interesting if your player character, Cirrus, was in fact Barbas? Next, we have a rather dark matter to cover, the Black Hand. In the Elder Scrolls, the Black Hand is a select group of assassins for the Dark Brotherhood. The Black Hand was the informal name of the Serbian military organization that assassinated that guy's name that I'm not going to try to pronounce, starting World War I. And just like in the Elder Scrolls Black Hand, the Serbian Black Hand was essentially a select order of assassins.
Very good.
So it
The
is
letter that
very likely
preceded,
that
you
the name
mentioned
of
you were
this
born under a
in-game group
certain
has
sign.
taken influence
And
from the
what would
real-life
that
Black
be?
Hand. On the topic of military assassination, we have the Blackwood Company Hall, belonging of course to the in-game mercenary group called Blackwood. Now there has been much debate over the inspiration of the Blackwood Company, namely over perceived parallels with the real-world Blackwater Company. In real life, Blackwater trains and employs a force of private contractors, often serving as private security for its clients. Like Blackwood's
Interesting.
mercenaries,
Now, before I
Blackwater's
stamp these
contractors were
papers, make sure
accused
this
of being
information is
needlessly
correct.
reckless and endangering civilians. None of these are my actual words, please don't assassinate me. However, luckily and rather excitingly, in-game we get to put the Blackwood Company's questionable deeds to an end. All throughout the world of Oblivion, there is a specific pair of shoes that can be found just about anywhere, really. The treads of interest are these blue suede shoes, but let's stop tippy-toeing around the subject. The blue suede shoes is named in tribute to the classic Blue Suede Shoes, the song written by Elvis. And just like their influence, they definitely got some. When in the spired city of Skingrad, you might want to pay a visit to Lazar Milvan. He of course is found within his house, but it's what he's hiding downstairs in the basement that is of great interest. Und das Uberrat, ja? This is known as the Uberrat. Although it is not Uber in size, it is Uber in damage, speed and health. The damage it deals and its health increase drastically with your level, and it moves very fast. Unlike standard rat, it is not a member of the creature faction, and therefore does not attack you on sight. There is no apparent reason for this rat's presence in the basement. In the construction set, this rat is identified as Test Basement Rat, and therefore may have been added for testing purposes and never removed. For the Dark Brotherhood quest called Next of Kin, we will need to head to Applewatch. At Applewatch lives a single old lady, Perinia Draconis. She will give us the information on where all of her children reside. We must kill Perinia Draconis, kill her daughter, Celia Draconis, kill her son, Andreas Draconis, kill her daughter, Sibylla Draconis, and kill her son, Matthias Draconis. The entire Draconis family gone. But when we return to Applewatch, we may notice something quite interesting. Over here, lit by a lantern, there are 5 new gravestones, each representing one of the slain Draconis family members. If we walk up to and activate the grave of Perinia Draconis, in the garden behind us, a spirit, a ghost, will be summoned. As we can see here, it is the ghost of Perinia Draconis come back to haunt us, get some ectoplasmic revenge for slaying her entire family. Little does she know, she's dealing with a camel. Next we have some nods to developers. Firstly, we'll have to come to Fort Cinia. In the depths of Fort Cinia, we will find a skeleton on the stairs. As we can observe, this skeleton is called Grand Struth. This seems to be a reference to Grant Struthers, one of the 7 members of the World Art team for the game. In the credits of the game, we can see him here listed under World Art. And secondly, if we come to Fort Nickel, next to it we will find a small tranquil lake. In this lake is a corpse, namely the corpse of Nath Dyer. Nath Dyer will be carrying primrose leaves and a letter. This letter reads, "You don't know me, but I see you every day. Every day my heart skips a beat as you walk past. I am writing to you in the hopes that you will let me court you. When you next venture into town, I will be the one holding a primrose." Unfortunately, it seems that Nath never delivered his letter. In the construction set, there are 2 hidden names for this corpse: Dead Lover Fort Nickel and Nathan McDyer. So it is likely that this corpse is named after Nathan McDyer, a Bethesda employee who was on the quality assurance team for Oblivion. On the other hand, for the primrose and the love letter, I have no idea. Something must have gone down in the Bethesda offices. Or perhaps no one went down, if you know what I'm saying. And once again, in this screenshot of the end credits for Oblivion, we can see under quality assurance is Nathan X McDyer. I hope you brought a fan, because it's about to get hot. We're going to be heading into the Oblivion gate outside Leowind's gates. Once inside, it is hard to not become overwhelmed by the obelisk cromlechs and dangerous dolmens. We must be strong and head west into the abyssal lava. Far at sea to the west, we will find this elongated island. On the northern face of this island is a hill. On the northern face of this hill is a door. This door cannot be opened. It is not locked. However, when activated, simply nothing happens. And although it cannot be accessed by any normal means, apparently in the creation kit, it states that this specific door is connected to an Ayleid ruin. Speaking of Ayleid ruins, we will need to come to the Ayleid ruin of Vilveren. In the 3rd level, we will find this mystical room, a beauty steeped in darkness, as this entire ruin is filled with necromancers and their thralls. However, the true interest lies next to this Ayleid coffer. There is a note, an undelivered letter. First of all, we can see it is addressed to Alec, and at the bottom we can see it is addressed to Captain Cardius. So it's written to someone called Alec Cardius. If we get rid of the IUS on the end of Cardius, join the 2 names together, and flip them around, we will get Dracula. Not only is the name Dracula hidden in Alec Cardius's name, but in the letter it is also hinted that Alec Cardius is a vampire with this line here, lest they suspect your own true nature. So a little nod to House Dracul. Speaking of Dracula, we will want to head to the immaculate city of Skingrad. Once here, we will want to take note of the castle, specifically its architectural influences. The Skingrad castle exterior is visually almost a copy of Bran Castle in Romania, which is commonly known as Dracula Castle. Appropriately, the inside of the castle is also quite vampiric. And of course, Castle Skingrad is the seat of the Count of Skingrad. And quite appropriately, Count Janus Hasildor is a vampire. He lives in a castle inspired by Dracula Castle. He's a count, and he's also a vampire. He also possesses dark, unnatural powers, just like his influential counterpart, Count Dracula. Next, we will want to head to Lost Boy Cavern. Inside, along with other things, we'll find a bunch of beer and the first drunk goblin, hidden up on the archway near the roof. Secondly, we will need to head to Horn Cave, a great place for jumping. That's a tip Maik won't give you. Inside Horn Cave, we will find a room. Inside this room is a troll, and along with the troll is the second drunk goblin. At least he died looking slightly happy. Thirdly, we will want to head to Toadstool Hollow. Here we will find a well-lit room. In the middle of the room is a barrel. Inside that barrel is a goblin. The third drunk goblin, as we can see, he is clasping a bottle. Under him in the barrel is more booze, and on the ground next to it is a silver war hammer. This is a physical metaphor for how truly hammered he got. Fourthly, we will need to head to Crayfish Cave. In this cavernous confine, there is a semi-submerged room, and here we will find the fourth drunk goblin, floating in the water, his mouth facing up towards the tap of the keg. and of course, safely on a shelf what seems to be my supply of beer. Wouldn't want to run out anytime soon, although that is the yeast of his worries. Fifthly, we need to come to Fort Rael's. In here, we will find a hole in the ground. If we go down that hole, at the bottom we will find a great blood, a dead goblin, surrounded by booze. Looks like he got smashed and fell down the hole. To be fair, it is quite dangerous. We should probably cover it up before someone else falls down. And sixthly, we will need to head to the infested mine. Although we do not want to head inside. Instead, up on the cliff ledge above the waterfall entrance is the point of interest. The sixth drunk goblin, once again surrounded by booze. This one seems to be the wisest of the six, choosing the most amicable place to die. For this next one, there is no specific location. We can experience this when talking to any beggar. So, go up to any beggar you can find, say, "Have a coin, beggar." Then when you exit dialogue, they will give you a blessing, saying, "Blessings of X upon ye," and they will just use the names of some of the 9 divines. Eventually, however, they will say this.
Don't take too much
Blessings
time.
of Mystara upon ye.
Blessings of Mystara. Now those Elder Scrolls nerds of you out there will know that Mystara is not a deity, daedra, or demigod of any kind. This is actually a Dungeons & Dragons reference, specifically referencing the D&D campaign setting called Mystara. Put your explorer's cap on because we're heading to Fort Coldcore. On the back side of the fort there is a hidden secret platform that only a true explorer would find. Here there's a chest, some bones, and most notably a sword. In this chest there is the key of hidden wealth and a note. This note reads, "The sword leads the way half a mile. It's just past the big rock on the right. Let's follow that sword into the wilderness." So after heading half a mile, we will find a rock that doesn't really seem to be on the right of anything, to be honest. Next to this rock is another chest, which needs a key to be opened. Luckily we have the key of hidden wealth. Inside there is a note of bounty, which simply reads, "Blessed are those who explore the unbeaten path." Although there may not be any direct reference, this is obviously a developer trying to get players to explore the vast worlds that Bethesda builds, as there are many hidden wonders. Curating curious curiosities. So this is a dev just giving a little nod or a shout out to those of us who explore every crack and cranny of their beautifully designed worlds. Now we will want to head to Summit Mist Manor in Skingrad. Here there is a man called Fafnir, the Nord guarding the Summit Mist Manor and the alleged chest of gold within. Fafnir here is named after the greedy gold-guarding dragon of Nordic mythology in the Volsunga saga. This greedy gold-guarding dragon is named Fafnir. Shout out to the Norsk. I spiser lenge. Now we will need to head to the waterfront of Anvil. Around 12 o'clock every night, an Argonian, a wood elf, and an orc meet up in the middle of the docks. Yes, indeed, they meet up for Fight Club. If you ask anyone around town or any of the members, you will never hear a word of it. After all, the first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule, you do not talk about Fight Club. Next up, we will need to head to this island to the west of Anvil. Once on this island, if we stand on this rock in the middle and point our compass in between southwest and west, then dive into the ocean. Down here in between 2 rocks we will find a skeleton and an interesting helmet. Although rather quotidian in these kind of lists, far too obscure to neglect. This helmet is of course the helm of Finn Gleam. No history behind it, no reason it's here. Although it is an incredibly powerful helmet that you can get at any level. As we can see here, it grants water breathing, night eye, and detect life. All constant effects. Very, very useful. Unless you're trying to win a fashion award. Now we must head to the lighthouse at Anvil's waterfront. Once here, we will want to enter the basement. Down here in the basement there is a door. Beyond this door is an altar. At the center of this altar is Mother's head. We will learn that the traitor of the Dark Brotherhood actually keeps his mother's head here and talks to her. This is a reference to the slasher movie Friday the 13th Part 2, in which Jason talks to the head of his decapitated mother, who was killed in an earlier movie. If you're ever in Breville and end up on the quest for the Forlorn Watchman, you will find yourself on this ship. On this ship, we will find a ghost called Gable the Traitor. We will also find the log of MMA, and it's not in the toilet. This is the ship's ship's log telling of a mutiny in which the traitor Gable leads the crew against Captain Laughton, all of which references the classic mutiny on the Bounty, in which actors Charles Laughton and Clark Gable played the ship's captain and chief of the mutineers, respectively. Now we'll need to head to the city of Coral. Once there, we need to head to Modrina Rain's house. During the later stages of the Fighting Guild's quest line, in this very house, there is an interrogation scene involving an Argonian tied to a chair. Anyway, once the storm has calmed, if you go back to his house and ask him what he's going to be doing with himself, he will say this.
Me? I was just getting used to being retired.
Speak,
You
traveler.
can see how good my painting is getting. I'm an old man. I've done my time.
So it's good to hear he's going to put his sword down and pick up the paintbrush. As he states himself, you can see how good my painting is getting. Good to hear it, although you might want to keep that sword at hand. Not exactly something to retire on. Those words truly will echo throughout eternity. You can see how good my painting is getting. Oblivion, brought to you by Microsoft Paint. To begin this next series of Easter eggs, we need to go to the Imperial City, specifically to the Imperial Palace. Once here, we need to head to the well-guarded basement. In the dark, hidden corner of the basements, we will find some rather interesting objects, unnaturally large of nature. The first object is this huge chair that my character is standing on. Over in the very corner, we have a giant glass ball and an hourglass. And on the floor, there is a huge club. As you can see, my character is holding a normal-sized club.
I
so you can
suppose it
see
is
the
my
scale
duty
of
to help
difference.
those less
And for the
fortunate
next
than
giant
myself.
item, now that you've been spoiled, we want to head to Arkved's tower. 2 towers in a row. Inside Arkved's tower, we'll find a room that contains a variety of super large objects. It also contains a tiny chest and a tiny trapdoor. But these are accompanied by a giant pew, a giant dining table covered in giant dining equipment, a giant bookshelf going directly to the roof, and of course a giant bed, which has to be jumped on. As special as giant items are, they do lose a little bit of their charm, considering some of the other scenes witnessed within this tower. This next Easter egg can be found within Greenmead Cave. Imprisoned within its subterranean walls, we will find the giant mud crab. It seems to be in a martial arts stance, perhaps it knows Crabawera. Here is my character standing next to the giant mud crab so you can get some perspective of its colossal proportions. Nom 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 nom. Our next point of interest is this pond to the east of Shardrock. Here we won't find just 1, but 2 giant Nernroots. And of course, once again, here's my character for a size comparison. The 3rd giant Nernroot can be found at the pond to the southwest of Bleak Flats Cave. And the 4th and final giant Nernroot is located on the shores of the pond found to the east of Shetcombe Farm. Ah yes, our next point of interest is Armelian Tomb. In here we will find giant-sized wisp stalks. As we will bear witness as a group, this wisp stalk is almost double the height of my character. There is also an entire cavernous hallway of these giant wisp stalks. For this next one, we will have to pay a visit to the Breville Wizard's Grotto. Or, if you're feeling equidiously adventurous, you can use the Nibbin Bay trapdoor. Either way, in the black, watery depths of this chasmous cavern, there is a tiny hole, and through that hole, we will find the giant slaughterfish. For God's sakes, man, someone call an orthodontist. As I'm sure your bright intellectual minds have guessed, the giant slaughterfish is, of course, giant. In the Imperial City waterfront, there is a boat inn run by Ormil. This boat is called the Bloated Float. If you sleep in the Bloated Float, a quest will start. In the aftermath of the quest, Ormil will explain that he invented a story of a treasure named Golden Galleon. Witness.
I fashioned a tale about a golden galleon.
This name, Golden Galleon, is a reference to the English
Head
writer
on.
named Saki by his pseudonym. His real name was H.H. Munro. Saki wrote a story named A Holiday Task, in which the main character sleeps in an inn named the Golden Galleon. Also, during this quest, the Bloated Float, the floating inn, is overrun by a band of thieves looking for this Golden Galleon. During a stage in the quest, your character is given the opportunity to unsuccessfully claim to be the ship's cook, mimicking dialogue from the Steven Seagal movie Under Siege, in which the ship is overrun by a band of mercenaries. Quite similar to what happened to the Bloated Float. For this next Easter egg, we will need to come to the eerily secluded town of Hackdirt, hidden tucked in the thick, rich forests south of Coral. Populated by a townsfolk with the personality of hemorrhoids, Hackdirt will make you uneasy quite quickly. It gets pretty dodgy if you go into the chapel. We will find a Bible of the Deep Ones, given to me by a chief of the Deep Ones. He taught me his language and his runes. This is the ancient law of his people, which we shall follow from now until forever. Signed in the presence of 12 witnesses. The rest of this Bible contains only cryptic Daedric runes. There is also an alarming amount of trapdoors that access the Hackdirt caverns. These caverns are filled with barbarian-like men called the Brethren. Fate would have it that the entire population of Hackdirt worship unseen creatures known simply as the Deep Ones, through the guidance of the Bible of the Deep Ones. This scenario is closely modeled after The Shadow over Innsmouth, a story by H.P. Lovecraft in which a small New England town is populated with half-human creatures who worship beings that live under the sea, known as the Deep Ones. Although in-game you never witness any of these Deep Ones, their presence is concreted. In the caverns there is this pathway that leads down deeper. As we can see, the roof has caved in. However, if we stand in wait and listen quite carefully, we will be able to hear the Deep Ones. Listen very closely.
My time is precious, so make
They
it
are
quick,
here, and
Outlander.
they are real. And for this next Easter egg, we will need to head back to Arkved's tower. In the chaotic room where Arkved sleeps eternally, we will be able to find a small desk. Take note of the crumpled up piece of paper. On the floor there is also a second piece of crumpled up paper. They simply read, the horror, and I shall lie here in the dark waiting for death. These are the lines spoken by Mr. Kurtz in Joseph Conrad's novel Heart of Darkness, which describe the speaker's descent into madness after glimpsing the darkest parts of the human mind, which is incredibly similar as to what happened to Arkved after he stole and experienced the true forces contained within the orb of Vermina, Weaver of Panoply. Next, we will need to pay a visit to the Mythic Dawn. Nowhere specific, just anywhere with a Mythic Dawn banner. The name of the Order of the Mythic Dawn may be a reference to the historical occult organization, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The symbol of the Mythic Dawn's banner, the Golden Sun Rising, may also be a reference to the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, as their banners bear similarities. Next up, in the Imperial City during the quest Unfriendly Competition, you will come across a book called the Macabre Manifest. It is a catalogue of those recently perished, and will have a list of the important items they were carrying on them at the time. On the 6th page, there is an entry for one Oford Gabbings, who carried with him a travel cloak with a silver and green leaf fastener, an enchanted short sword with inlaid writing, a gold ring with inscription, cursed, and a leather-bound travel journal. How familiar do those items sound? Not sure what I'm talking about? Well, if we rearrange the name of Oford Gabbings, we get Frodo Baggins. And then suddenly that list of items become much more familiar. His travel cloak with the silver and green leaf fastener, the enchanted short sword with inlaid writing is of course Sting, the golden ring with inscriptions cursed, it could be the One Ring, and a leather-bound travel journal, which hobbits have been known to carry. We have one slain Frodo Baggins on our hands. Also, when you complete the quest, the guy that had all of these stolen items from dead bodies gives you as a reward a weatherwood circlet. Here it is on the ground. Now, considering Oford Gabbings was carrying a cursed ring, does make me think that this ring right here that we are rewarded is the very ring he was carrying, the cursed ring. And I think you will agree it bears rather uncanny similarities to the One Ring to rule them all, from Lord of the Rings, of course. It's gold and it has some kind of delicate italic pattern or script written across the ring. Very interesting indeed. And for a little bit more of JRT, we need to head to Knoll Mountain. Here lives the Nord, Havelstein Horblood. He is at all times accompanied by his trusty wolf companion, Redmore. Now the name Redmore is a direct translation of Karkaroth, a mighty wolf from the Silmarillion, which by the way is such an easy read. And for the third in the trilogy we have the Dark Brotherhood quest, A Knife in the Dark. This quest shares the name of a chapter in Tolkien's book, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. Furthermore, during this quest, we have to come to the Inn of Ill Omen and assassinate an old man called Rufio, which is similar to what happens to the characters in the book during the chapter of the same name, A Knife in the Dark, when they're staying at the inn and are nearly killed during their sleep there. This inn that the hobbits stay in is also the inn where they meet Strider, who turns out to be Aragorn. At the time, all they know him as is Strider, a mysterious figure who is claimed to be a ranger. And in-game in Oblivion at this Inn of Ill Omen, over in the corner sits a mysterious man. Although not uniquely named, this man is an Imperial Legion Forester, which is essentially exactly the same role as a ranger. Quite interesting, don't you think? But to segue into this next Easter egg, why would someone want Rufio killed? Poor old Rufio. What has he ever done to anyone? Well, if we head to the Telos Plaza of the Imperial City and head to Claudius Arcadia's house, we will find a note on the door. Public notice, this property has been seized by the Imperial Legion and its owner imprisoned. Rituals to the Night Mother or any other attempt to contact the Dark Brotherhood will not be tolerated. Adamus Filio, Imperial Legion Commander. We'll get back to him much later. Inside Claudius Arcadia's house in the basement, we will find where we got our first shift from. Nightshade, a human heart, human skin. Dagger, blood, bones. The obvious remains and evidence that someone was performing the Black Sacrament. If we head to the Imperial prison, we will find Claudius Arcadia. When spoken to, he will say this.
So I wanted somebody murdered. So I prayed to the Night Mother. What is that? A crime now? They even took my house, those bastards. Ow.
As you may find out from other prisoners, it turns out that Claudius Arcadia wanted Rufio dead because Rufio murdered his daughter. So it turns out that old Spock here actually gave us our initiation quest for the Dark Brotherhood in a roundabout way at the cost of his daughter. While we're knocking around, let's head back to the Telos Plaza district in the Imperial City. Hiding in the catacombs in the basement of his own house, we have Jackben, Earl of Imble. If we take his name, Jackben, Earl of Imble, take out Earl of, and rearrange the letters, we end up with Jack be nimble. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick, Jack jump over the candlestick. This is referencing Spring-Heeled Jack, a character from English folklore. Something even more interesting, in-game, Jackben, Earl of Imble had an ancestor called Spring-Heeled Jack. He also carries his ancestor's boots. Boots of Spring-Heeled Jack fortify acrobatics, 50 points himself. A rather useful effect for jumping over candlesticks. Next up, after fulfilling your requirements to join the Dark Brotherhood, upon sleeping for the first time, you will be visited by Lucien Lachance. He is the individual who will recruit you into the Dark Brotherhood. However, he is also a caricature of Lucia Lacroix, a character on the Canadian television series Forever Night, chronicling the journeys of Nick Knight, the 800-year-old vampire. Forever Night introduces Lucien Lacroix as the creature who brought Nick into his dark family.
Sorry,
Just
stranger,
as Lucien
my
Lachance does to the player character. This next Easter egg can be encountered literally just about anywhere outside.
I suppose it
of
is my
course,
duty to help
everyone's
those
favorite
less
kitty cat,
fortunate than
Maik
myself.
Thalara. Now here in Oblivion is Maik's second appearance in any Elder Scrolls game. Maik was first implemented into the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, and was put there as a way for developers to interact with players indirectly, as he said very unlore-friendly things, covering topics such as multiplayer. Sadly, in Oblivion, when you run into him, you can only get one line of dialogue. To experience the other lines of dialogue, you have to run into him in different locations. I'm going to select and read through some of the best lines that Maik can say to you in Oblivion. I have seen dragons, perhaps you will see a dragon. I won't say where I saw one, perhaps I did not. That line could be a foresight telling players that Skyrim is coming. Secondly, levitation is for fools. Why would we want to levitate? Once you are up high, there is nowhere to go but down. Levitation, of course, is a feature in Morrowind that Oblivion did not have. Next, I do not wish to fight on horseback. It's a good way to ruin a perfectly good horse, which is to say, a perfectly good dinner. This is referencing before Oblivion's release, when the news that mounted combat would not be possible, it created considerable controversy in the forums. The Next line, some people wish to throw their weapons. That seems foolish to Maik. If you hold your weapon, you only need one. This is referring to the lack of throwing knives, darts, and stars in Oblivion compared to Morrowind. This next one, Maik prefers to adventure alone. Others just get in the way, and they talk. This is a reference to the discussion about Oblivion being a multiplayer game, and limits on NPC assistance. Multiplayer is one of Maik's reoccurring topics. This next one, so much easier to get around these days, not like the old days,
Yes.
too much walking. Of course, nothing stops Maik from walking when he wants. This is Maik dismissing complaints over Oblivion's fast travel system, which replaced the various transit systems found throughout Morrowind. And the last one I'll read. Maik is glad he has a compass. Makes it easier to find things, much better than wandering around like a fool. This is referring to the quest compass objectives introduced into Oblivion. There were many complaints from previous Elder Scrolls players that this feature made the game far too easy, and you simply walk to the arrow instead of getting involved with the quest lines and having to actually use your map to find places, which I completely agree with. These next two Easter eggs can be found in the Imperial City, the first of which is the main ingredient, which is the name of a restaurant in Maryland, the home of Bethesda Softworks. The second is the Three Brothers Trade Goods, which is also named after another restaurant in Maryland, the Three Brothers. Next up we have the Mirror Shield, which is found as random level loot. This shield, however, alludes to the Mirror Shield from the Legend of Zelda games by Nintendo. If we take a look at the Mirror Shield's effects, we can see that it reflects spells, just as the Mirror Shield in Zelda had the ability to reflect magic. This next Easter egg can be found during a quest near Anvil. This quest is called the Siren's Deception, and one of the women you find is a Khajiit named Tsarina. This is a reference to the second Redwall book, Mossflower. The main villain was a female anthropomorphic wildcat named Samina.
Yes.
Next, we will need to come specifically to the vineyards outside the illustrious city of Skingrad. Once here, we need to find a flock of sheep. If we pick up a piece of fruit, I used an apple, and wave it around in front of the sheep's faces for about 30 seconds, something very strange will happen. The sheep will actually begin to follow you. Just be sure to not bring a book, you might experience a rampage. Not only will you become the sheep charmer, but the sheep may become rambunctious. A very handy trick for those of you interested in zoophilia erotica. Now we will need to head to Mankar Cameron's paradise. On a small island to the east, there is a very interesting single inhabitant, the spectral mud crab. The spectral mud crab is a unique mud crab. It is more powerful than normal mud crabs and has several magical resistances. It has no lore and no external references, just a strange, random, spectral mud crab found in the corner of existence. Ah yes, for this next Easter egg, we need to be inside the Oblivion Gate found at Kvatch. Just inside the gate on the shores of this sea of lava, there is something quite eye-catching. This charred corpse with an arm outstretched trying to crawl out of the sea of flame. You should take note that one arm and both of the legs have been cut off. This here is incredibly similar to a scene towards the end of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, in which Anakin gets both legs and his left arm cut off. He then proceeds to become charcoal chicken by lying too close to the lava, ending up looking exactly like this corpse here. Not only that, but in front of the corpse is a steel cutlass. The cutlass is incredibly similar to a saber, so this weapon is in place of the lightsaber. You were the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them, bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. Now, we want to head to this small bridge which can be found to the east of Breville. Underneath, you will find the remains of a dead troll, which is slightly reminiscent of the children's fairy tale Billy Goat Scruff. On this troll's body, we will find some alcohol and a poorly scrawled note. This note reads, "Me worst troll ever. Nobody pay bridge toll. Me not scary enough. Me get drunk and kill self. Troll drown." So this troll actually committed suicide. Is this some kind of hint from Bethesda towards trolls? An interesting thought, but it is actually quite sad that this troll wasn't scary enough and drowned himself. And while we're on this macabre topic, in the city of Leyawen, during the Dark Brotherhood questline, Adamus Filia will retire in Leyawen. We will be contracted to kill Adamus Filia, the very man that imprisoned Claudius Arcadia, who gave us our initiation quest into the Dark Brotherhood. The current problem is that Adamus Filia has this bodyguard, who never leaves his side day and night. It is quite a lot of responsibility for a bodyguard who is only just a teenager. After completing the quest and assassinating Adamus Filia, we we must leave Leyawiin for a couple of days. Upon returning, if we go inside the Leyawiin City Watch barracks, we will find a body on the floor. This is the very body of Adamus Filia's bodyguard. In his inventory, we will find a suicide note, which reads, "This was my big break. Finally, I'm given something important to do. And what happens? I blow it. All I had to do was keep Filia alive. That's it." But no, I couldn't even accomplish that. Father was right. I'm an idiot, and I haven't amounted to anything. I let everyone down, so this is it. Goodbye, cruel empire. I'm ending it all. Possibly the most impressive kill of all time. Shot 1 arrow and killed 2 guards. These next 2 Easter eggs are located within Goblin Jim's cave. In one of the sections of this cave, there is a hut, and on the table inside this hut is the tiny rat. Just keep in mind that rats in Oblivion and most Elder Scrolls games are massive. Look at the size of this rat compared to the stool. And then back to the tiny rat. This rat has been scaled so it is about the same size that an actual rat would be in real life. It is the only tiny rat in-game. It doesn't have a different ID, it's just been scaled differently. It has only 1 rat
My
meat.
time is
However,
precious.
the more interesting thing about Goblin Jim's cave is that its population of goblins are from the White Skin tribe, and uniquely marked by this handprint on their arm. Now, the leader of the
You have
White Skin Goblin tribe is Goblin
quickly,
Jim, a
Outlander, or
very
go away.
powerful
What's your
Breton
story?
wizard. A powerful wizard with an army of orc-like creatures marked simply by a painted handprint. Now, although these are purely my musings, this does sound very, very familiar. Just like Goblin Jim and his army of goblins marked by a handprint, Saruman from Lord of the Rings had an army of Uruk-hai marked of
Head
course
on.
by the white hand of Saruman. 3 very similar traits that should not be overlooked. Next, we will need to head to the extravagant city of Coral. Once here, we want to head to Renoir's books. Now, the owner of the shop, Estelle Renoir, is a Breton bookseller. She was featured in one of Bethesda's first trailers for Oblivion, showcasing intelligent radiant AI. The trailer shows
Okay,
Renoir
I'm
practicing
listening.
her marksman skill and interacting with her dog.
Speak,
Thunder.
traveler.
Renoir was made to consume a potion to showcase the new in-game drinking animation. She then proceeded to throw fireballs at her dog Thunder, scolding it. Sadly, in the final game, Thunder is not present. However, there